Coach Reid, you there?
Sam, how we doing? Coach will be on in just a second. Give him about 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. We're looking forward to this. Huh? Zach? Coach Reid, are you there?
Start video. All right. Can you hear me?
Coach Reid, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. Sam Vincent, we
Yes,
really appreciate you doing this.
absolutely. I'm flatter the chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we're from Parkersburg High School in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And we have 3 sections of a class called Sports and American Culture. And we've been lucky enough to have people like you willing to talk to our class and share their insights and answer some questions.
Great. Good.
So if you are willing, kind of what we've done in the past is if you maybe would take a minute or two to tell our students about your life and career. And then we have about 50 to 60 kids here that they've come up with some questions that they'd like to ask you, if that sounds good to you.
Perfect. No problem. I'd love to do that.
Okay.
So,
well, you go ahead whenever.
Go ahead. Say that again. I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You go ahead and share about
Okay.
your life and career, and then we'll have the kids ask some questions.
Good. So I'm really an Andrew, not an Andy, but they call me Andy. So I grew up in Los Angeles, California, born and raised, and until I went to BYU College, University there, Brigham Young University. I had stayed right there in the Los Angeles area. I was lucky enough to be raised around a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures. So it was where the Black community, the Hispanic community, the white community, and the Asian community all kind of came together. Chinatown was close by. And so I had, that might have been the best education I had, although I had phenomenal teachers and coaches all the way along the line. So I went to Brigham Young University. I went there on a football scholarship. Loved every minute of it. Met my wife there, which was a great thing, and got a phenomenal education. I ended up majoring in physical education, minored in English, and again, came out of there thinking I might be a high school teacher at some time. Ended up, my college coach asked me if I had, this was before I changed majors. He asked me if I had ever thought about coaching. I had told him at that time no. But he said, well, I'd keep you on when you're done playing as a graduate assistant, pay for your graduate school. And I said, all right, let's try that. So I did that, did my student teaching in the meantime, and then ended up staying on as a graduate assistant and loved every minute of the coaching part. So I pursued that. Went to, my first job was at San Francisco State University. I taught and I coached the football team, and then I moved on from there to Northern Arizona University. Stayed there for a whole whopping 10 months and 1 season. And then I was lucky enough to get into the Division I ranks. Northern Arizona was 1AA at that time, and San Francisco State was Division II non-scholarship. So ended up at University of Texas at El Paso, which was a Division I school. We did very well there, and had a chance to move on from there to the University of Missouri. Our whole staff moved to the University of Missouri. And from there, I got a call from Mike Holmgren, who was the head coach, getting the head coaching job with the Green Bay Packers, and asked if I wanted to come with him. He was a coach at Brigham Young University when I was there. So I ended up going to the Green Bay Packers, was there 7 years. And then I got my first opportunity. I had a chance to coach Brett Favre, and good players can end up making pretty good coaches. So I ended up getting my first head coaching job at Philadelphia. I was there 14 years, and I'm going on my 10th year here in Kansas City. So that's where I'm at. I had great parents. Dad was an artist. Mom was a doctor. Completely opposite ends of the perspective. My dad walked around in old painted clothes. My mom walked around in nice, cleaned up, dress up clothes every day. So they were completely opposites, but as they say, opposites attract. They're married forever. So that's where I'm at.
All right. Well, perfect.
I'll tell you that I've got a lot of kids. I have 5 kids. We lost one of them, as you guys know. And then I've got 11 grandkids. So I'm officially an old man. Fire away.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that was perfect. And I sent you the questions. So, we've looked up some stuff about you. So I'll ask the first one, then I'll start passing the computer around. Can you kind of explain, this was a big question that a lot of students had, of what is the feeling like whenever the clock hits 0 and you're a Super Bowl champion? What's the feeling like being a Super Bowl champion?
Yeah, you're completely out of your mind at about that spot time, and you feel like you've conquered the world. It's very satisfying. You're happy for the kids that you work with, happy for all the families that have hung with their husbands and significant others, whatever it might be, that have bared down and made it through another long season of hard work. We work crazy hours as coaches, and players spend a ton of time year round doing their job. So, and making sure they're mentally and physically ready to play. So when you reach that pinnacle, you're 1 out of 32 in the whole world at what you do in the NFL. There's only 32 teams and 32 coaches and so on. So head coaches. So you're literally 1 out of 32 in the whole world, and you just reach the pinnacle of your profession, and you just get so excited about that.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm going to open it up to the kids here, and they do a pretty good job asking questions. I will warn you, there's a couple Broncos and Raiders fans in my classes, so giving you a heads up. Okay, all right, gotcha. All right, David, we'll start with you, and then we'll move around. All right, so this is a senior, David Hamilton. He played football. He's kind of always our first question guy.
Hey, Mr. Reid.
All right, David. You're the wedge buster, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Nice to meet you, David.
So
Good. Thank you.
what's it like coaching some of the best quarterbacks of all time? Like the differences and
Yeah, listen, I've been very fortunate that way. So I saw the names that you had mentioned there, the three, Donovan and Brett Favre and Pat Mahomes. And I also had a chance to coach Michael Vick. Jeff Garcia at the time was he was an all-pro player at the time. So I've had a chance to coach really good, smart guys and at that position. And I loved every minute of it. As you know, that quarterback, I'm not sure you were playing quarterback, were you?
oh no, I
You look like, you look like a big guy. So yeah, that's right. So, but it's hard to win games without a good quarterback, and they can make you look like a good coach when you're able to coach those guys up. So that I've been very fortunate that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Vincent. Hello, Coach Reid.
How are you? Tell me your name.
I'm William.
All right, William. Great. Nice to meet you.
I have a question that pertains to the NFL draft.
Far away.
This is more for my brother, but can you reveal any absolute picks that you're going to have for the 2022 draft early?
That's a good question. So when there's so many variables that take place with that, when you're picking down at 29 and 30, we've got 2 first-round picks, so we're fortunate there. And you just don't know what's going to go before you. Now, technology has narrowed that error margin down just a little bit, so you're probably shooting at 85 to 80%, or 20% error margin there of knowing who might be there, what group of players might be there, but it might not be the guy you want, right? That you've targeted. So it's very hard to tell you exactly who you're going to take. We're lucky though that those later rounds and late in the first round, second round, third and fourth rounds are pretty heavy with good, solid football players.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Reid.
How are you?
Good.
You're a big guy too, man. We got a lot of big guys in this class.
Yes. What do you think Juju will bring to your team this upcoming year?
Yeah, so Juju's a real smart kid. And so he gives you some flexibility inside or outside as a receiver. He's also a big dude. He's a healthy sized wide receiver, and he plays real physical. So he can get inside there where things get a little confusing and space is tight, and he can create space either with his body or he knows how to work into those zones, those holes and zones where he can get himself open. And he's got big catch radius, big kid. So he's got a nice catch radius that you can shoot at there.
Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, Mr. Reid. Mason.
How are you? Mason, nice to meet you. Yep.
What is your favorite cheeseburger?
Listen, you can tell I've had a couple, huh? So I love cheeseburgers. The players know I love cheeseburgers, so they're on the hunt for the greatest cheeseburger in Kansas City to tell me and where it's at. We do Red Robin on the plane when we travel. So we've got Red Robin cheeseburgers. They're pretty good. I mean, they're high grade. And then, do you guys have Red Robin down there? No. It's kind of a chain in this area. So anyways, Red Robin's good. And then there's a little dive in downtown Kansas City called Town Topic. And there's only about 6 seats in the little drive-in, dive, whatever you want to call it. It's and so they've got great cheeseburgers, and then they serve these tater tots that are phenomenal with it. So
Thank you.
you betcha.
What's up, Coach Reid?
Yes, sir. Another big guy, man.
Oh yeah, definitely a big guy. Don't get that wrong.
There you go.
What kind of advice would you give to an upcoming freshman football player for college?
Yeah. So are you in that category? Yeah, that's phenomenal. Where are you going to go? Do you know yet?
Yeah. Oldest and broadest.
Huh?
It's a small college in West Virginia. Oldest and
Okay.
broadest.
Yeah, good for you, man. It doesn't matter where it's at. You get a chance to play. Well, first of all, you've been successful where you're at. So to go to college, so be yourself. And then no coach will ever argue with a guy that works hard. So you might not be the greatest player, you might not be that, but you can always work hard at what you're doing. And that's something you can control in your attitude. Are you going to be an energy giver? You're going to be an energy taker. So nobody likes being around those guys that suck energy out of you. So you go in and you keep a positive attitude. Listen, if you screw up, so what? I'm gonna learn from it. I'm moving on to the next play, and here we go. And those are just basic fundamentals. I'm sure you probably heard those before, but they're basic fundamentals that hold true at the college level, big or small, and in the NFL.
Thank you, Coach Reid.
You betcha. Good luck.
But you hasn't asked your question so far. All right. I'll be right back to you. All right, going to James here.
James. All right, James. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
My question is, what was your favorite game ever to coach?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing that. I've been a head coach for 24 years, and so I love the last Super Bowl, or the Super Bowl that we won. We were back-to-back Super Bowls, but which was just a couple years back, and winning that was phenomenal. I'd say that was probably at the top of the list, and for right now. But I also had a good game. My team had a great game against the Buffalo Bills here just this past season. So that was a pretty good one too. You get to ask the opposite question of what's my least favorite game, and that's always the last one that you lost. And so that was our last game.
All right, then what's your least favorite game you ever
Yeah,
coached?
That's the one right there. The last one I coached. So we lost to the Bengals, and they ended up going to the Super Bowl.
At least I didn't win.
Okay, we're moving all around here. Here is Sam.
Hey, Coach Reid.
All right, Sam.
I was wondering, what do you do during the off season?
Yeah, so listen, the NFL is it's a year-round business. People don't understand that all the time. So we go right from the season into evaluating for free agents. Free agency starts. You go through a couple of weeks of free agency there, and then you start getting ready for the draft. Then the draft. Then you end up going through the draft process, and then when you're going through the draft, you're already in these three phases of our off-season program. So we're in the first phase of that when the draft takes place, and getting ready to start our second phase. So where we actually have the players here and we're able to work with them. And then that leads up right into June, about June 18th, and then we're off, and players and coaches get away from each other for about a month, and then we're right back into training camp. So normally coaches will go take a vacation at that time. Players start really gearing up for the season, the long haul, making sure they're in tip-top condition.
Sounds like a lot of work. Thank you.
You betcha. Thanks.
All right. Jackson. Yeah. All right.
Hey, Coach Reid. I'm
All right,
Jackson.
Jackson. Yeah, nice to meet you.
What qualities do teams look for in players that aren't skill or athleticism, and how do you evaluate those qualities?
Yeah, so skill and athleticism help for sure. And so when you're talking about skill, a guy might not be the best athlete, but he knows how to play the game. He might not be the fastest, strongest, biggest guy. But some of those things he can work on. Speed's not, you can work on speed, but you're not going to take these drastic gains in that, but you might in strength. So one of the challenges for a coach is to take your strengths and exploit them. Let's get out, and if you're a great receiver, and you run a certain route well, let's run that route, and then we'll coach you up on the other stuff, and we take and give you the benefit of the doubt that you're going to work your tail off and make sure that you get better at these other things. And so we'll increase that whole knowledge bank for you and all your tools that you have to go play at a high level and make a lot of money.
Thank you.
All right, some of these guys probably are gonna be asking more than one question. I'm trying to get to everybody for their
Sure.
first question.
You got a big class there.
Yeah, lots of kids. All right, here is Dylan.
All right, Dylan.
So I'm a big Canton football team fan. Commanders, Redskins, whatever.
Sure.
I wanted to know, why did you trade Donovan McNabb to Washington when they're the division rival?
Yeah, so just like I did with Tyreek here this last week, I'm okay with guys going to other teams. If that's where they want to be at that time and I can't keep them on my team, then I want them, as long as they've done me a good job, right? And done our team a good job, then I'm going to take care of you. And Donovan, I'm very, very close to. And so I asked him, what team would you like to go to? And there were a handful that were interested. That was a trade, like this Tyreek thing. So I asked Donovan, what team would you like to go to? And I had a couple, three or four teams, and he picked at that time the Redskins. Yes. So I did that, and I didn't really care that it was in the division or not. So there's so much competition in this league. There's so much parity and competition in this league, and it's a team sport. So that's how it goes. Not one person that makes the whole team.
Hi, my name's Donovan, ironically.
All right, Don, that's good timing, man.
So I'm a
Hold it. Kick that camera down a little bit. You got a Steeler deal on? All right.
Yep.
All right. I got.
Actually, I was going to ask you, who do you think is the greatest Steelers player you've ever faced?
Oh boy, man, they've had so many stinking good players.
Pretty
But,
good.
yeah, Ben Roethlisberger's been pretty good for a long period of time, and he had some great games against us. The bus was good. I played against him. He could bring it, and oh heck, I don't know. I mean, there have been so many. I mean, they had so many great defensive players too. But anyway, that's a couple. I mentioned that for you.
Let Juju know that we still love him and we wish him the best.
All right, well, I'll do that for sure. All right, Donovan.
Hello, Mr. Reid. My name's Chance Clark.
Chance? Yep.
What's the toughest team you've played throughout your years?
Yeah, so there's some teams here that just win for year after year after year. New England would probably be the one that's been most consistent throughout the years. Seattle is another one that kind of was in that mix there for a number of years, and but they're all tough. I mean, all these teams are good. Okay, they can beat you on any given Sunday. I mean, it's Monday or Thursday mixed in there. They can get after you. There's just a lot of parity in this league where so many good players in one spot, so many good coaches in one spot.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Coach.
All right, Redhead, what do you got for me, man?
I'm actually a Chiefs fan. My dad grew up in Kansas City, so
Love it.
it's an honor to talk to you. But my question was, what did you see out of Patrick Mahomes when he was coming out of college? Because I remember I watched him play for Texas Tech against our state college. So I was wondering what you saw in him.
Yeah, so Brett Veach is our general manager here. Brett actually started as my administrative assistant a long time ago. in Philadelphia, and he came here with me when I took the job here. He came along and took his job. He was a scout at that time, and he was in charge of the state of Texas and kind of overlooked it, I should say. And so he saw Pat Mahomes, first game Pat Mahomes played, and he goes, "This kid's unbelievable. I mean, he's just an unbelievable player." So for the next couple of years, he kept putting those games on tape and put them on my desk so I'd watch them. So I started watching him when he was a pup, and then by the time it came time to draft him, we kind of knew that's who we wanted. John Dorsey was our general manager at the time, and he had to maneuver around to get him.
Yeah.
But Brett had already coached us up on Pat Mahomes. We'd been watching him a long time, but characteristics where he was smart, highly intelligent, and he understands the game. He grew up in a professional locker room. His dad was a pro baseball player, so he wasn't in awe of anything. And you can be in awe and be a good player. I'm not saying that, but most of the time when guys are in awe of the getting in and looking at the players around them, they normally don't produce well. And so he came in and he just needed to learn the offense, and he did that pretty quick. So we were able to get him in there playing.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Anybody who hasn't asked a question yet? Okay. Not sure. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Coach Reid.
How are you? What's your name? Well, it's cutting out on me here a little bit. I'm having a hard time hearing you. I'm sorry.
My name's CJ.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What are some of the major characteristics you look for when recruiting new athletes?
Yeah, so I like smart guys, and then I like athletic ability. So, and if I can put those two together, I think I'm gonna have a pretty good player. Normally, smart guys are gonna work hard. They're gonna give you an effort. In this business, it's still very physical. You have the physical part and you have the mental part. And I've got to make sure that the guys can do it not only one game, but they can stay consistent and do it game after game. The other thing we like, and as coaches, is we like guys that are coachable, that aren't afraid to go out and try what you ask them to try against in a real game and not just in practice. So I would kind of give you all those characteristics. I'm looking heavy at those and seeing if you don't fit into that category, those categories.
Thank you.
You betcha. Thanks. Good question.
All right. Anybody who hasn't asked a question yet? Want to ask one? Okay, we're gonna go back to some. Oh, we got one more person who hasn't asked one. Then we'll go back to some people who asked already. All right.
Hi. My name is Ethan, and I was just wondering, what made you interesting in coaching?
Yeah.
What
So
made you interesting?
yeah, I got you, bud. I got you. So it was my college head coach asked me if I wanted to, if I was interested in coaching, and he'd pay for my school after that, to get my master's degree. And so I said, yeah, you betcha. I would love to do it and try it. So I did, and I loved every minute of it. But I was lucky. Listen, I was very lucky, and I had great coaches growing up, and I was very fortunate that way. So a lot of good examples on the way up the ladder there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, we're going to go back to David, who asked the first question, and then his group. I think they'll probably all ask another one. You guys can just pass it around here.
Hello again, Mr.
Hi,
Reid.
Dave. Yes.
How are you doing?
Great.
What player impacted you the most in your whole coaching career?
Yeah, so you probably don't know the name, but maybe you do if you're a Chicago Bears fan. Jim McMahon was my quarterback in college, and
He's a Bears fan right here.
Yeah, There you go. There you go. You got the yin yang. So Jim, Jim was he was an All-American quarterback for us, and I was an offensive lineman, and so you know how that goes. We try to protect that guy, and I love his energy and the way he went about playing. And then any of those quarterbacks you asked me about earlier, those guys were all good guys. I also coached Reggie White, who was a minister. And you're a defensive lineman, right? Is that what you're
Yep.
saying? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So he probably goes down as, if not the greatest, one of the greatest ever to play defensive end. But he walked the walk. So, or walk the talk the walk, whatever you want to call it. He was a minister, and he went by the rules of being a minister. He wasn't telling you he was a minister and sneaking around the chicken coop and doing, dumb stuff. So I really appreciated him for that. And he was a great example to a lot of people.
Thank you, Mr. Reid.
All right, man.
We'll probably be back my way soon. So,
What up, Coach Reid?
How we doing? Far away.
Good. From someone from California going to Lambeau Field, how was it like coaching there in the cold? Like how was that?
Yeah, that was a little cold. I played in the cold, so I was, by that time I was kind of used to it, and but yeah, no, it was different. That's a great place though, that Lambeau Field. That's like sacred ground there, man. It's old, kind of old NFL football there. One of the first teams, so that's a special place.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
My question is, who was the most coachable player you ever had?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I've been lucky to have, again, a lot of coachable guys. You're gonna maybe do you know who T.O. is? Terrell Owens. Do you know who that is? Wide receiver. So he was a little bit controversial, but you could give T.O. any play. He was a wide receiver. You give him any play and ask him to do it, and he would do it 100 miles an hour, and he'd do it in a game. I mean, he would do exactly what you told him to do, and people wouldn't think of that of him. The people that really know who he is, you never hear that part of him, but so coachable. Yeah. I've had a lot of them, so I can't just say him, but I'm telling you, he was as coachable as anybody I've ever been around.
Thank you.
It's me again. Your Hawaiian shirts. Why do you like your Hawaiian shirts so much?
You're a big guy, so you know, man. It just kind of covers everything up. They're comfortable, so I'm into comfort. You put it on, and you go. And everybody around you, it makes them happy. So.
Yep.
Call and ask if he'd wear a game if he was allowed.
If Sam's got a question. Okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Do you have any goals you are yet to accomplish?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, I'd love to be on a team here that wins another Super Bowl. So everything else in this profession, I've been lucky enough to have done, and and so I've been very fortunate that way. And it's not me, it's the people I'm lucky enough to work with, the players and the coaches. And we're just kind of I'm part of the team just like they are. So.
Hello, Mr. Reid.
There's my Bear fan right here, right?
How do you evaluate your coaches you hire?
Yeah, so I do it a little bit like the players. I mean, I want smart guys. I want guys that work hard, that are honest. And you're going to laugh at this a little bit, but that can make sure they handle their spouse, their wife. So there's no conflict there. And they all sit together. And so when you're up in the stands, if the defense is doing well, the one wife doesn't yell at the offensive guys and say, come on, you got to pick it up. So that you don't want any of that conflict going on there. So, but I want to make sure that they can fit into the team part of this and that they can teach. That's teaching ends up probably being number one there.
Thank you.
All right, go Bears.
Hey, Coach Reid. What is the toughest fan base to go up against?
Yeah, so when I was in Philadelphia, we would play the New York Giants. And I'm a chubby guy, so there was a guy up above the tunnel that we would walk out of, and he would always go, Reid, you need to hit the salad bar. And I'd go, okay. All right, I hear you. So, we came back and beat them. They were up by like 21 points, 28 points, something like that. And we came back. I told him, hey, how about that salad bar, dude? Shove that in your left ear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach, I got one more question.
All right, man.
If Antonio Brown texted you right now and said, I wanted to play for you, would you recruit him?
I'd talk to him. Yeah, I'd talk to him. Listen, I try to look in the good, at the good in everybody, and people deserve second chance if they've handled themselves right. But I would look at him and see what he's got going, up here, right? Up here. I don't want to, I owe it to my team with any of these guys, not to bring in people that aren't going to be, all team. So, but he's, listen, you never know until you talk to him. Right? You never know. You can hear all the stuff you hear, but every team's different. Every head coach, every organization is a little different. So,
Have a good day, Coach Reid.
yeah, you guys too. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I was just wondering, who's the most difficult quarterback you had to go against?
Who's the toughest one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our division here is fully loaded now, so we got a bunch of good quarterbacks, but the AFC also is fully loaded. You can go Buffalo, the Ravens. This is out of our division now, and you can go Cincinnati Bengals. All these guys are phenomenal, and then you add the guys in our division. They're all good. All four teams have good quarterbacks, and so we've got to really play good football this year, and it's a great challenge for us. We're in this thing because we love challenges. If you could tell me we get to play against the best team every week, I'd tell you, let's go. Let's roll. There's just a certain excitement about that, and that's what they're creating in the AFC right now. So it's going to be a duke out, a good fight every week. So yeah, exciting.
No.
All right.
Hey, Coach.
Fire up. How you doing? I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
In the 2019 to 2020 season, at what point did you implement Jet Chip Wasp into the playbook, and how did it feel calling that in the Super Bowl and having it succeed?
Yeah, so we have another play called Bolt that Wasp looks like Bolt, and we called Bolt a couple different times in the playoffs and in that game, and so it worked out perfect where they had already seen Bolt and they thought we were running it again, and they kind of bid on that. Their corner did. And we were able to get over the top of them with Tyreek on what we call an angle route. And we had talked about the protection. The protection was they were really, San Francisco is really good rushers, man. I mean, they have a very good defensive line. So that play takes a little bit of time and to develop. And so we kept saying, okay, we're going to call Bolt. I mean, we're going to call Wasp. We're going to call Wasp. And finally, we got to the point where we needed all those yards. And so we dialed it up, and Patrick did a great job. Our offensive line did a nice job, well enough. And Patrick took 9-step drop, which doesn't happen very often for a quarterback in this league, and threw it up to Tyreek, corner bit down on it, and we were over the top of him, and pretty good play.
Thank you.
Yeah.
While I'm going to the next student, can you compare what it's like coaching in Philadelphia compared to Kansas City?
Sure. Yeah. So I love the fans everywhere I've been. I've loved all three organizations where I've been. Phenomenal owners. I've been very lucky that way. There's an East Coast attitude, and I can say that probably my parents were from the East Coast, so there's a certain attitude the East Coast has, and it's a little rough. And then Kansas City is the Midwest, and they're tough too. But they're different. It's a little bit different attitude. The bottom line was both places are phenomenal on game day. I mean, on game day, they're very well educated fans, both places, and they're going to let you know if you stink. They're going to let you know if you're good. They're going to let you know that too. So I appreciate that, but the cities have a little different attitude, and I love both of them. I mean, I felt very fortunate to be in both of them.
All right, back to Mason here.
All right, Mason.
What's up, Coach Reid?
We have no girls in the class. There's no girls in the class. They don't.
Not that are asking questions.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I was
right now.
wondering-
Go ahead.
I was
Fire away.
wondering what the moment was like when Chad Henne had to step in when Patrick went down the game before the AFC Championship, and he led us to the win.
Yeah.
To really seal it off. What that moment was like.
Yeah, so Chad's a good guy. He's right from Pennsylvania there, and he's a tough kid. Dad's a longshoreman and the whole deal. I mean, Chad's a tough guy. Was a real good player at Michigan, and then he's been in the National Football League a long time. He was actually older than our quarterback coach at the time, Mike Kafka. So Chad coming in, everybody loves the guy, and they trust him most of all. So Chad is really strict on fundamentals of the game, and that showed when he came off the bench, and he led the team. He's a phenomenal leader, very smart guy, very tough, and everybody knew he was going to do okay. I mean, we called a 4th down play for him, and and everybody they thought we were nuts doing it with a period, and then with a backup quarterback, really nuts. But we all had trust in Chad that he would take care of it,
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man.
Other than the cities that you coached in, what's your favorite NFL city to travel to?
Yeah. Well, I'd probably say Los Angeles because I'm from Los Angeles. I have a lot of friends there still. And, they got this nice new stadium, and if we play the Rams there, that's one time, but we definitely play the Chargers there every year. So I get a chance to go home. It's kind of neat. There are a lot of great stadiums in the league. You're wearing one of them right there on your chest. It's the Steelers are unbelievable. They break out those yellow towels and get that thing going. That means you're having a bad day. Don't like that. But they've got great fans.
Okay. Zach, you want to ask a question?
Mr. Reid.
Yes, sir. Right.
So going over film and converting what you see into a play to counter that, how hard would you say that is?
Yeah, so it can be a little tough depending on what the coverage is that you might see or the front that you might see. But it's also the fun part of this job. So you take that challenge and you want to, that's why we're doing this as coaches. We want to be able to put the players in the perfect position and utilize their strengths to be great and all of that bit. And so I love that part. It can be tough. It takes a lot of time to study the tape and see exactly what they're doing, what their tendencies are. But when you get one, you get a good play. You go, all right, that's a pretty good feeling.
There you
Yeah.
Over here.
Hey, I'm back.
All right, good. Good. I can hear you better this time.
What impact on the game of football do you think video games like Madden and NCAA football have had on the game of football?
Yeah, I think they're great. All my players play 'em. I mean, they love doing that stuff. So, and I think I knew John Madden personally. Matter of fact, I spoke at his funeral there. So he spent a lot of time trying to make that game as much like the NFL as possible. And even when he sold the game, they sold the game off, they still kept him involved. And he was a Hall of Fame coach. I'm not sure how many people knew that, but he was a Hall of Fame NFL coach for the Raiders. And also a broadcaster. So he'd seen all these different angles of the game, whether it was from the broadcasting booth or coaching. And he tried to incorporate it in that and make it as real as he possibly could. So those plays are some of the same plays we run, and defenses are some of the same defenses that are run in the NFL. And I think it's great. It's a great way to learn the game. Right now, I was going to mention this when I joked about the girls asking questions, but the amount of women that are watching the NFL now is greater than it's ever been. I think it's almost 50% females watching the game, and the number of people 20 and under that are male and female are about 50%. It's crazy on how many women are watching this game, and that's not the way it was when I first got in the league.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm JT Corbin.
All right,
It's
Jake.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so I just have one question.
Far away.
What does winning a championship mean to you and your organization?
Yeah, so it gives our owner a chance to strut around with the other owners and brag that he's number one, wear his ring that he has, and it gives the players a boost. You know what's funny about it though, JD? It's only for it's for that 1 year that you're playing. So, and then once that year is over, a lot of the team go in different directions, whether it's free agency or trades, they end up with other teams. So, but for that year, those 17 games now, and then the 2 or 3 or 4 that you play in the playoffs, I mean, that's as close and as good a feeling as you can have at this level for everybody, for the whole organization.
All right. Thank you.
All right, going back to our table that asks a bunch of questions here. All right. Mason, and that's it.
What is one NFL rule that you would change?
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I saw that. We actually changed it here just a couple days ago. Actually, it was yesterday. So I just had the owner meetings. I was in Miami the last couple days at the owner meetings, and the overtime rule got changed for the playoffs, not for the season, but for the playoffs. And it gives both offenses an opportunity to touch the football, which I think is a good thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Here's David again.
Hi again, Mr. Reid.
Our way.
What was the most impactful loss for you in your whole career?
Yeah. I saw that question. That's kind of a tough one. because every loss feels like a kick in the gut. I mean, it just, they all hurt because you spend so much time doing this thing, and every game's so important. But I'd probably tell you the last one we had against Cincinnati ranks up there. I mean, we were up by a pretty good margin going in at halftime, and they came back and beat us, rightly so. I mean, they played better in the second half than we did. So they ended up beating us. And I mean, that was the last game before we had another chance to go to the Super Bowl and to play the Rams. But so I mean, that one hurt a little bit. Yeah. Got to get over them fast, though, don't you? Doesn't matter what. Got to get over it fast.
Yeah. But here's Wyatt.
All right.
Hello. Did you choose Matt Nagy for your quarterback coach because he was familiar with the system?
I did. Yeah, he coached for me a few years back, and before he came to Chicago as the head coach, and that's a good football coach. He was coach of the year his first year in Chicago, and then things kind of fell apart there. But you're still wearing the jersey, dude.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been too bad, right?
Yeah.
Hello. What are your career goals from here on out?
Yeah. One game at a time, man. Just let's take care of business here. I've always said when I came into whatever job I went into, whether I was an assistant coach or a head coach, I wanted to leave my spot better than when I came there. So I want to keep obviously the tradition of the Kansas City Chiefs alive and winning. We've had some changeover this year, so that's a great challenge to do that for myself and the players and the rest of the organization. So that's our immediate challenge, to see if we can't go win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's what we're all shooting.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Hey, Mr. Reid.
Yeah.
What's your favorite position to coach out of all the positions?
Yeah, you know what? I've coached all of them, but I mean, I love the offensive line. I love quarterbacks. I coached the defensive line for a little bit when I was at San Francisco State. I was able to help out there. We had a professional wrestler that was, he was first the Olympics, and then he ended up being a professional wrestler. But he had to, when he was wrestling, he had to leave every once in a while. So I had to kind of do both the O-line and D-line. But yeah, they're all good, man. As long as you're coaching,
right?
You get to work with young people like yourself, and that's what it's all about, man.
All right, thank you, Mr. Reid.
Yep, you betcha.
All right, back to our Steelers fan, Donovan here.
All right.
Out of all the other head coaches in the NFL right now, which one do you respect the most?
Yeah, so I respect a lot of them. I sure, Bill Belichick and I have had some knockdown dragouts over our 20 plus years of coaching against each other. So I would tell you, just by longevity, he and I go way back, and we're friends. So I appreciate how he goes about doing his job.
All right, while I'm walking over to Jackson here, we're lucky enough in a month to get to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What does Canton mean to the players and the coaches in the NFL?
Yeah, I like the Super Bowl. That's the pinnacle for as a player. You win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's great for that immediate time, but the Canton's like forever. That's one of those deals. That's they might not remember that you won a Super Bowl 10 years down the road, but if you're a Hall of Famer, I mean, people remember what you've done, and it's a legacy that you can leave in the business. And so I've had a chance to coach some Hall of Famers and gone to the ceremonies there. It's phenomenal. You should really enjoy that privilege of going there. It's kind of the mecca of pro football.
All right, here's Jackson. He hasn't asked a question here.
Hey, Coach Reid.
All right, guys.
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
I was wondering what was last year's wild card game against the Steelers preparation like?
Yeah, that was, listen, the Steelers, I have a ton of respect for Mike Tomlin and the job that he does. He's also a friend of mine, and his teams are always prepared. They had an off day that day. I mean, they're great. We've had, again, some real great games against them where both teams, they've won some and we've won some, and they were just off a tick in that game. And so we ended up winning, but I know it wasn't a lack of effort on their part. They played their tail off hard and aggressive, a lot of respect for that organization, the Rooney family and Mike Tomlin are great people.
Thank you.
About 8 minutes here to ask questions. So last question, we don't have a whole lot.
Hi, Coach. I'm Nelson.
All right, Nelson.
So I was wondering how you deal with two players who have conflicting personalities in the locker room.
Yeah, so you try to get things worked out beforehand. So I tell them that I tell them, listen, I tell them this first day they come in. I tell them most wars in the world have been caused by money, religion, women, politics, right? Those four things. Whether a guy fights over a girl or whether they start talking about money or gambling or any of that stuff, and then that can cause friction. If you start pushing your religion on people, that can cause friction. You start talking about politics, that can cause friction. Try to stay away from all those things when you're building a team. And so that normally covers everybody that might have a problem. You have space, and so try not to get into somebody else's space and do something stupid there. If you know we're around each other so much for so long, so 8 hours a day for 6 months of the year, every button to push on that person to make them mad. Don't push them. Just get away. Give them space.
JT again, Andy.
All right, JT.
Okay, so coming from a coach's perspective, how do you motivate a player if said player has like sort of a mental block in their game? They can't get over, I don't know.
Sure, no, I'm with you. I got it. Yeah, so sometimes you can be your own worst enemy as a person. And so, this has been a question that's been asked since Aristotle was doing his deal, right? So
Yeah.
It's been around a long time, that question. How do you get out of the way of yourself? And fear ends up being something. So I've got like 4 things I give our team, and they're right in the locker room, up on the ceiling of the locker room. And, it's eliminate distractions, create energy, fear nothing, and attack everything. So if fear can kind of get in the way of things, and in particular in sports, whether you're giving a speech somewhere, whatever it might be, whatever it gets in the way, and it cowers you down. And so we all have fears, but you've got to put yourself in a position where you attack the situation and then believe in yourself with it.
Right.
So with me, if I'm giving a talk to somebody, or if I'm getting ready to install the plays, I've got to go over those plays over and over and over again. So I've got it up here. Now I've got the confidence to go forward. And then I can stand in front of anybody and do that. So repetition becomes important, I think, in this. The ability to know the information. Knowledge is power. So the more I know, the stronger I am, and the more confident I become. So that's kind of where I go with it. I tell the players the same thing.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Gotcha.
How much do the combine and pro days help evaluate players, and what would you do to improve them if you had the ability to?
Yeah, those are actually good. What you try to do is you try to get around the player as much as you can. So this is a crazy stat, like 50% of first rounders end up being consistent starters in the National Football League. So they might have a stint where they start initially, but they get faded out because of their ability. And there's millions of dollars spent on first round draft picks, millions of dollars, whether it's a travel from the scouts going to visit them for the last 4 years or 3 years, whether you're flying them into your place, whether you're paying them after the draft. They get flown to the draft to get hyped up there and presented. There's a combine that they have to go to. There are different workouts throughout the country that they get flown to. So anyways, there's a lot of money that goes into these guys in the evaluation process. And so my feeling is, as much as you can be around them, the better off you are. You can sit here and tell me that you're the greatest track athlete in the world. And if this is our only meeting, I've got to take that to heart. I'm going to go try to hunt it up and see how great you are at it. But I might not be able to afford to get around to do that. But I'm going to try to see you in your environment. I'm going to try to watch you participate at the school that you're at. I'm going to try to bring you into my environment, and then I'm going to test you when you're here. I'm going to see how you handle yourself at the combine around different people from all different schools and different coaches throughout the National Football League and scouts. And I'm going to take that margin of error and I'm going to shrink that son of a gun. So I've got a pretty good feel on you by the time we draft you. And if I have to zoom you every day to the draft, I'm going to zoom you every day to get to know you if I can't get the feeling inside that I kind of like you and that you'd fit in our team.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, I think we have time for 2 more questions maybe here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey again, Mr. Reid.
All right.
So how did you feel when Tom Brady announced he was coming out of retirement?
Yeah, I kind of heard through the grapevine that when you hear people talk, right? You hear people, you guys probably heard it on ESPN, they interview different players and they go, I don't know, man. I'm not sure he's really going to retire. He might. When you start hearing those things, word travel fast. There's only 32 teams in the whole league. All of a sudden my antennas go up and I go, you know what? There's a pretty good chance this guy's coming back. It's not over. So it sounded good. And he probably got done with it and just went, what am I doing? I'm sitting on the couch eating chocolate chip cookies and watching Good Morning America.
That's how
Man.
I'm doing all that math
Let's
with
just-
his kids.
Yeah, that's right. And kids driving crazy. Yeah. So, but that gets old.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Here's William.
Hey, Coach Reid.
All right, William.
Now, final question. I asked this at the beginning of the year. I completely forget who, but I feel it fitting to ask it at the end.
Yeah.
You have seen failure and success. You've seen it come out of nowhere. You've seen it come from someone. So what would you say is common among the successful?
Yeah, so I think honesty and hard work, if you just got to the bottom of it, they're honest with themselves, they're honest with people around them. They keep their nose clean, right? So if you're going to be successful, you got to stay away from the drugs. I told you about my son. I mentioned that, he passed away because of drugs. That's a problem. It's a problem in America. So you stay away from the things that you can control that are not healthy for you. And so that becomes something, but that hard work, honesty, they go a long way in a lot of different directions. And those are the people I want to be around. I want somebody that's going to create energy around me. I hate downers, man. People coming in, they're, it's like a dirty pair of socks, man. I want to just throw them in the bin and stay away from me. I want guys that lift me up and, feel good about being around them.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right, man.
All right, we've got Mateo hasn't asked a question, but he's decided he wants to before we're done here.
All right.
Hello.
We got hey, Mateo. How are you?
I'm a 49ers fan.
Good.
What is your favorite team to against?
Yeah, so I love the old 49ers when I didn't have to play against them. I was good with those guys, Joe Montana and all that crew, but they do a real nice job. Shanahan's a phenomenal coach, and They do great. The team that's our rival are the Raiders. I mean, it's in our division. So with this rivalry's gone on way before I ever got here. I mean, it's old, and back to the '60s, and so I've kind of joined in with that. John Gruden and I came into the National Football League together. So when he was there, he understood the rivalry. We were together at Green Bay, and but yeah, the Raiders versus the Chiefs, that's a good rivalry. We got to get one girl. We got to get one girl, Mr. Benson, to ask us.
Well, I know that's the one girl that we have that always asks questions isn't here today. All right.
Okay.
Olivia, you want to ask a question? Yeah. Rylan? Yeah, you had a good question.
That's my grandson. Granddaughter.
Your question was good it was about college athletes. Yeah, I even said that was a good question. You asked about you want to play college basketball. So what are the attributes of great college athletes?
We're all gonna be mad at you if you don't.
Put the thing down to right.
All right.
Rylan.
We're gonna go to Donovan, and then maybe they'll have the courage to ask.
All right.
Okay.
Like going against Big Ben in his final game.
Yeah, so it was awesome. I mean, it was great that his parents came and family. They'd never been to an away game, so I mean, that whole deal was great. I know Ben personally, and so I was happy for him. You know, he's had a great career. Let me ask you a question. So, who's going to win the Final Four here? Who's going to play in the championship game and win it?
Kansas, North Carolina.
Okay, and who wins it?
North Carolina.
Well, I don't believe that. Okay, good. No, I'm joking. That's it. I'm sitting right here next to the University of Kansas, so I can't pick North Carolina.
As long as it's not Duke, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, Coach K, man, he's miracle man. So he's a heck of a guy. You'd like him.
I respect him. I just don't like Duke.
Yeah. I think I saw Duke something. Is that the library you're in? I saw something on the wall that looked like a Duke flag or something.
Maybe. I don't see one. Yeah, maybe.
No. Well,
Yeah.
maybe it's.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anybody have one last question before? No? Okay. All right. I think we might. All right. Who's asking a question? Rylan? All right.
Come on.
Okay. Rylan just found out she got second team All-State in basketball yesterday.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. All right, Rylan. That's my granddaughter's name. So I'm good here. Far away.
What are the keys to successfully being able to become a college athlete and playing at the next level? Like, what are the attributes?
Yeah. So hard work, right? You got to have a little bit of talent in there too. So you take care of that and then go in with all kinds of confidence and just, it's not all going to be perfect, but there'll be enough perfect if you work hard. And then make sure you go to class, doggone it. The hardest part, especially if you're a basketball player, the hardest part about basketball, you play so many stinking games, it's hard to get to class and stay up on your studies. So you got to do that. No one and dones, right?
Thank you.
Good luck too. Congratulations.
Okay. We're getting ready to leave here in about 5 minutes for school.
All right.
So first of all, thank you so much for doing this. When we've had these interviews, we've been lucky enough to ask so many different people. So we'll get you out on this. If you had to give one piece of life advice, one or two pieces of life advice to high school students before they go to college or the workforce or whatever the case may be, what would that be?
Yeah. So listen, you're given opportunities to be exposed to life in high school. And so you're around all kinds of different people. Cherish that because those are the best years of your life right there. But also know when you go to college, you're going to have that same adventure and experience taking place for you, and treat it like it's an adventure. Go explore, open the box to the world. And make it even greater than Mr. Vincent and I did. Doggone it. I mean, that's the step. You guys are the greatest generation ever. Let's go, man. Let's take it to another level and get some peace in this world here. That'd be phenomenal.
Well, we can't thank you enough for taking this time to do this for us, and just we really enjoyed it. Hopefully you did. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you do a great job, man. Yeah, that's great for your students. That's phenomenal what you did. So appreciate it.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you again.
Okay, good. Take care now. Thank
Okay,
you.
you too. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.